Death, taxes, and Kirk Cousins deuce in the bed on Monday Night Football. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so good to be back. Welcome back to the Dom and Pop DC Sports Talk Plus podcast. This week, we're going to be previewing all around the NFL and, of course, talking a little bit about our Commanders. How are we going to beat Philly? How are we going to do it? We'll get into it. Let's do it. How you doing? How you feeling?
I can't wait for this one.
Yeah,
I've been waiting since Sunday for this one.
This is a big one. So, Pop, you said you wanted to set this episode up. Just go ahead. Don't let me waste any time here.
Well, at least the first part of it. So, I mean, Dominic and I have done about 3 or 4 pods in between the last one and this one. I got a little bit of feedback. I got a little bit of parental feedback that I kind of hold him back. I rein him in. I don't let him express his true feelings.
Just, look, your optimism, I love your optimism off the mic. But when we're talking about the Commanders, I don't need you telling me optimistic stuff when Jared Goff hung 22 unanswered points on us in the first
here's what
round.
we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. This is for therapy. This is so you can get it all out of his system. 5 minutes on the clock. Dominic uninterrupted. Let it all out, son. Get it all out, and then we're on to Philadelphia. Ready to start?
I'm ready. I don't know if I'm going to go the whole 5 minutes. I might get too excited. Go ahead.
3, 2, 1, start.
This team stinks. I am beyond frustrated right now as a Commanders fan. I think it is getting insane what we are witnessing with the complacency and the lack of ability to look oneself in the mirror from the culture guy, from the guy that is supposed to be the beacon of doing things the right way. Zero accountability from Ron, negative accountability from Jack Del Rio, players either underperforming to their talent level or have been incorrectly evaluated and are not as talented as everybody has told us they are. That's basically what we're faced with. And unfortunately, at this point, with the way the defense has been performing, it's both. It's both. The scheme sucks and the players are not good enough. That's just it's just reality. If the players were so good, if we had this inhuman offensive line or defensive line, that was so good that we could just rely on our front four and just hope that our secondary doesn't totally let a guy fly wide open and play this soft zone, they'd be getting there. They're not. The defensive line, not as good as we say they are. We've got 1, maybe 2 stars on that defensive line. And guess what? That one guy is in a contract year. We don't know what Chase Young is going to be when he comes back. We hope he's going to be what we saw in 2020, but a lot of what we saw in 2021 wasn't good from him. So we really don't know. Nobody wants to talk about that. We really don't know. We've got Daron Payne, who is the only consistent performer on that defensive line, contract year, more than likely, at least the way it was looking this summer, not going to be back here. So then what? What are we going to do? And that's our most talented group. We're not even talking about William Jackson. He can't cover. He cannot cover. He is not a zone cornerback. And you go out and you get a man cornerback who is bad in zone to be the center point of your secondary, which is a soft zone scheme. Why? How does that make any sense? That is a complete failure of talent evaluation, complete failure of understanding of your system. It's just arrogance is what it is. It's complete and utter arrogance. I'm not even going to talk about Jamin Davis because honestly, it is becoming disgusting in my opinion what is happening to that poor kid. He's becoming the scapegoat for all of the problems that have existed in this organization far before they drafted him. Did they have any business taking him? What did they take him? 18, 19 overall? No. They had no business doing that. But you know what? The poor kid, not a middle linebacker. You draft him to be a middle linebacker. You draft him way too high. You put all this pressure on the kid. He's spending an entire year with his head spinning. Everybody said he looked lost out there. You're throwing too much at him. He doesn't understand what he's supposed to be doing. This year, you put him back on the outside. Now he doesn't know what he's doing again because you pretty much flipped everything he was supposed to be doing on its head. And now you want to make it his fault? You want to make it his fault when the quarterback you're paying, what, $18-20 million a year can't cover for squat? Getting torched on every play? You want to make it his fault when Kendall Fuller, who is supposed to be the best defensive back, the best player on the field at points in training camp, looks like crap out there? It's just, there is such a lack of talent defensively and such a schematic arrogance that is happening on both sides of the football. Both sides. Scott Turner comes out and he's calling deep passes for Wentz in the first half against the Lions, who, if they have anything good on that team, it's a defensive line. That's the one thing. Aiden Hutchinson's what, 6'9", 300 pounds of pure muscle? That dude is terrifying. And you're going to set up Wentz deep drops out of his own end zone? It's ridiculous. It's complete and utter complacency from a team that has been nothing but mediocre. And it leads me to believe we're just satisfied with being mediocre because nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change if we don't address these things. And I'm sick of hearing about systematic issues, about miscommunications. This is the same team we had last year. There was no major turnover. The only major turnover was Carson Wentz, who has been by far and away the best change this team has made. By far and away. This is the one thing we all thought we were going to be tearing our head about was Carson Wentz. He's been excellent. Excellent compared to what we thought he was going to be. Above and beyond. He's not Josh Allen, but he's way better than what we thought we got. Everybody else, other than Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson, stinks. And I'm very frustrated right now. I got to get it all out. I'm being dramatic, but I got a lot of negative feelings, very bottled up, so they come out a little bit stronger. Now,
It's fine.
I'm on to Cincinnati.
The
On
good
to
news is
Philadelphia, really. It's a Bill Belichick quote. But
the good news is Dom said he didn't think he would use all 5 minutes. I smashed the over in Vegas. So big winner here.
I could have gone for 25.
You feel better?
Kind of. I'm a little just more pissed off than I was. This is
That's
the
the
other
real
thing.
Dom.
So Dad had the idea for the rant on Sunday night, and then I watched the Bills and the Eagles. I was both fiscally and fantasy football motivated to watch those games. I watched both of them pretty closely, and the anger left me because I was just like, you know what? We're not even in the same planet as these two football teams. Maybe as the Titans, but we're not even in the same planet.
Oh, they're on the schedule. That's a good thing.
Yeah, we'll get to see. We're not
All
even
right,
on the same
but
planet. So what's it
so
worth
just
getting upset about? But I brought it back for you, for Dad. And yes, I do feel better. I got to weigh it off my shoulders. I've talked about it.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I'm happy for you. The only thing I take issue with anything you said was, come on, give John Allen a little bit of love.
He's playing
John
hurt.
Payne's the only-
He's playing
John
hurt.
Allen's a great player.
John Allen's a great player. John
Yeah.
Allen is a great player. That's fair. As the consistent performer both games this year has been Daron Payne.
And,
John
and
Allen,
Dominic, would you
he's hurt.
please just do the math? Do the math.
Yeah, that's the mistake is that I didn't do the math. And you know what?
The whole
We're gonna
5
talk about
minutes,
that.
you never did the math.
You know what the math is, Pop? 14. 21. Sorry, 21 wins in 3 years. That's the math. That's unacceptable. And you know what? It's going to be another 7-win season if we keep doing what we've been doing. So
Yeah.
there's the math for you. Let's talk about it. Pop, obviously the Eagles looked phenomenal last night. That looked
Yes.
like a Super Bowl caliber football team last night.
Captain
In a
Kirk
vacuum.
on Monday night. What's his record? It's
Horrible.
like 2-8 or something like that.
He's
or-
terrible. And funnily
Yeah.
enough, I was listening to B-Mitch mentioned it this morning. He had like 120 something passer rating in Philadelphia when he played at the Eagles Stadium prior to last night. But the
Wow.
Monday Night Blues it hit Kirk too hard. He couldn't overcome it. I was loving it because I was winning my fantasy
He
game.
needs a lava lamp or something to use.
I don't know
on
what he
Monday
needs
nights.
to do, but I was winning my fantasy game by 6 points, and my opponent had the Vikings kicker. And so I'm thinking I'm cooked because surely they're going to get at least 2 field goals before the end of the game. And Kirk
Right.
just they get to the red zone like 3, 4 times, and Kirk just INT, INT, INT. I got up, I was doing the gritty across my kitchen after he threw the last one because I knew
He
I
thought
won.
Slay was on his team. It was an easy mistake. He just thought
thought
he
he
was
was
his teammate. That's
thought he was
all.
wearing green. That's fair. Fair
Yeah, I
enough.
mean, it's all good, you know.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
also, that's what it's come down to. We have to and relish in the misery of our
yeah.
former players and rivals. So
Oh man, it's tough. But yeah, obviously Buffalo looks like Buffalo. I mean, at this point,
yeah,
you're almost not even surprised. I, I
they're
don't
going to be
know.
tough to stop.
They're going to be unbelievable. I would like to see how they're going to lose a game this year. Um,
Yeah,
Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts looks like he's taken that big step forward that everybody's talked about. Um,
yeah. Philadelphia upsets me because they go through multiple coaching changes. They go through multiple quarterbacks. They draft a quarterback who people didn't really think was maybe not going to be that great, and they're just back on top. I always liked Hurts. I just like his moxie. I like he's all business and
Hard to root
just
against as a
love
Commanders
love how
fan.
he plays. And not take away anything from the Eagles hate, but it just upsets you that they can win a Super Bowl, kind of crash, and then come right back a couple years later with a different coach, and it looks like they're back on top, and
Well,
we just can't
what
seem to scratch the surface on that.
what they
Good
did,
front office, I guess.
yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Was what they did was they looked themselves in the mirror, they made some tough decisions, and they committed to them. They had Hurts. Everybody was talking about, oh, Philly might trade Hurts, blah blah blah. Me and Dad were texting about it, like, man, I hope Russ doesn't end up in the division, but I hope they trade Hurts because I think Hurts has as high a ceiling as anybody in the NFL right now. It'd be great to get rid of him. But what do? They commit. They go get AJ Brown. They draft Devonta Smith last year. They put together a really talented wide receiving core. They go get Kenny Gainwell in the draft, who's a solid third down back. They put the pieces around him. They put together what was one of the best run offenses in the league last year. They come back this year. They give him all the pieces he needs out wide to spread the ball out. And now it's like, how do you defend
There's
that?
your Eagles preview right there, folks.
How do you defend that? And not to
Yeah,
mention,
it's gonna be
Fletcher
difficult.
Cox is a dog on that defensive line. They've got a great D line, and they have a stud cornerback in Darius Slay, who's just, I mean, he's been so good for so long at this point. He's so good. He just strikes terror in the
Are you
opposing
gonna are you
quarterbacks.
gonna pull landfall film, become a
I
lifelong
might
Eagles
shave
fan?
my head and become a lifelong Eagles fan, man. It's not looking good over here. It's not
Don't
looking
do it.
good. But
Don't do it.
so all of that to say, man, what the hell are we gonna do next week? How does
Well,
the
you
team
got
that
your rant out of your system. The reality is it's just 2 games, and I'm gonna stand by. I'm gonna pour a little sugar on, even though I had my moments at
please,
post game.
somebody
If you
has
haven't
to. Somebody has
checked
to.
out the post game pod, but I still think a lot of things that we understood is true. Yeah, defense is frustrating. You could argue, and I'm not going to defend the coaching at this point. I'm just not. I'm done doing that because I'm not seeing. And
Hallelujah.
actually, the tipping point for me is the accountability piece. Look, the media, we have a great media in this town. We've got some really good reporters. I really enjoy them mostly across the board. Okay. And in the end of the day, they're pretty easy. They ask tough questions, but they're
It's
very fair.
fair. It's
From
very fair.
JP to John Kime to Pete Haley to I'm going to leave a bunch of guys out, but they're all very fair,
Yeah.
right? And for Ron to just be so condescending and saying do the math. And I mean, in Monday's press conference, he's eating peanuts or something while he's talking to them, like just so dismissive. And and he's also talking about how great the scheme is and it's the players. Well, guess what? You pick both.
Yep.
You're in charge of both.
There's
It's
what
like a college coach.
I think
You
there's
can't
like
complain about the players. It's coach centric because you're in charge of putting it together. You made a lot of good decisions, and I'm gonna again spread some sugar.
Go ahead.
Carson Wentz looks like a really good decision.
Yep.
The receiving core, bringing in Dotson, that seemed like a very Ron pick from looking at behind the
Trade
scenes.
was brilliant. Trade
It
was
was
brilliant.
brilliant. Unfortunately, a couple of the other guys got hurt, but hopefully we'll see that come to fruition. Logan Thomas, great acquisition. That's worked out. You could argue about some of the O line moves. I don't think they were great, but can't pay everybody. So offensively, talk about needing to update the offense. Great. Didn't do a whole lot on defense. Whatever. They should have done more. I don't think anyone's going to argue that's not the case. But I still feel like this is a better team than last year's team. And I even feel like the defense, even though people say they didn't do anything, potentially is better because Derek Forrest looks like a keeper. Cam Curl's coming back off injury. Chase Young, is going to come back off injury, and he's going to be better than who we have starting now by a lot. Will he be the
Yep.
superstar this year? Probably not. But I think that this team is better than last year's team. You know, the coaching has to improve and they need to be accountable. I don't know that's going to change because Ron just has so much power. At the end of the day, he does. And it's not going to change anytime soon. Will they make a change defensive? Hopefully not. I mean, these guys can coach. Like if we're all screaming and saying they should do this, that, and the other, they got to see it too. And so let's talk about what's it going to take to beat the Eagles. If we win this game, right, it turns the whole situation around. And even if we don't win, but we play good football and really battle to where we can walk out of there and go, man, what a great game. Could have went either way. We got a chance on Sunday to turn the story around and it was just 1 week. And you know what? The reality is we battled back and we were within a score with some better decisions of beating the Lions, or one stop of beating the Lions. So, you know, let's get into like what do we think it's going to take to beat the Eagles? We're all in now. We're on to Philadelphia. What's it going to take to beat them?
Um, it's
So, what's your three things that need to pop to
there
beat
you
the
go.
Eagles dominant?
That's a great question. Just real quick to your point about Ron and these being his players. A problem that I have is that if we look at the roster and we look at the best players, most of them are Gruden carryovers. At least,
I mean, I think we're I think
at
we're
least
I
three
think
of
we're
them.
diving into a very long discussion there, and
But
I
to your
remind you, you
point,
were the one that wanted to keep this short
I'm
tonight.
agreeing.
I don't think that's totally
I'm
true.
not trying to go too long. I'm a
There are a lot. I rattled off all those guys on offense, which were Ron
I'm
acquisitions.
agreeing with you essentially is that
Right.
it's his responsibility if it's not the scheme and it's the players. There's barely any players left from the Gruden era and the best players on the team are from the Gruden era, so it's your responsibility to go out and make that happen. So
I agree.
not an excuse is
But again, we're
is what
turning
I'm
the
trying
corner.
to say.
We're on to Philly.
We're on to Cincinnati. Okay? We're
We're on to
moving forward.
Cincinnati.
So in order to beat the Eagles, for me, my three things that have to pop. Number one, we got to protect Carson. That was a serious, serious, serious concern against Detroit. He's taken a lot of hits. This is a guy that, let's start at base level. This is a guy that struggled with injuries before. Not good for a quarterback that's had injury problems to take a lot of hits. That's number one. Number two, this is a guy that's known to hold on to the ball too long. Not good for the guy who's known to hold on to the ball too long to not get the protection that he needs. Number three, this is a guy that is known to make some pretty erratic decisions when he holds on to the ball too long. Not good for him to be under pressure. And number four, this is his old team that basically ran him out of town. He's going to want to prove himself regardless of what he says in the media or whatever. Let's not let him get hit. Let's protect the
So you
quarterback.
broke your first thing down into four things.
4 reasons why that's so important.
Okay, all right, I got you.
So that's number 1. Number 2, momentum. And this gets back to what we talked about with the whole do the math. Off mic, I'll explain exactly where we should put the math for next game. But in the YouTube terms and conditions, maybe it's not going to work so well. But somewhere the sun doesn't shine. Let's leave it at that. We cannot,
Alugul.
there you go. Alagul. We cannot make the decisions that we made in the last game totally reckless to the momentum and the way the game is going. If we are up 14-3, don't turn the ball over. Put our foot on their necks. Go up 21-3. Be aggressive. If we just score a touchdown to bring it within a score and you know we're going to have to go for 2 at some point, kick the damn extra point and Joey Sly, for the love of God, make the freaking thing. Please, God, don't make me come on here and talk about Joey Sly missing extra points next week. Please. Not a key, but a bonus key for you right there. So number 2, momentum. Coaching decisions have to reflect the momentum of the game. Let's keep the team engaged and attacking all 4 quarters. That's number 2. Number 3, no big plays. And that ties into momentum, but no big plays. Force Jalen Hurts to have to make a lot of decisions. Force the dink and dunk. No big plays. They have tons of weapons. Quez Watkins can get loose. AJ Brown can get loose. Devonta Smith can get loose. Miles Sanders can get loose. We have to eliminate that. I mean, Jalen Hurts can get loose. We have to
How about keep
eliminate the
the
big
over
play.
under on big plays under 2
I don't want to.
or under
I
3?
don't want to go into a game saying, "Oh, you can torch us a few times." No, no big plays.
Good point.
No big
Good
plays.
point.
This is winning attitude over here. This is not 7-10 attitude. Winning attitude. No big plays. Those are my 3. So
I'm with you.
real quick, so we can, perhaps chop it up a little bit later on. My 3, number 1, protect the QB. Number 2, momentum. Be aware of it. Keep momentum. Number 3, no big plays. Pop. What are your 3 keys?
Great keys, son. Things that pop.
Things that pop. Excuse me.
Mike, my 3 keys, I don't know. That one might die out. My 3 keys are so went into last week's game. We're dropping Carson back, and clearly the pressure was getting to him. I don't know what happened to the quick pass game. I don't know what happened to the screens or the inside sweeps, but part of protecting Carson is if we drop him back and he takes too much time, he's going to get hit because our O line is beat up. It's got to come in the scheme. So we have to sustain drives. It's when you and I used to play Madden. What did I do? Quick
Dink and
slant,
dunked
first
it all
down.
over
Quick
me.
used to drive you nuts, right? Because I wasn't that good at Madden, really. But it's move the change. Just move the change. Just get a first down. Simple. Football is pretty simple at the end of the day. You only got to gain 10 yards at a time, right? Move the chains. I don't think they're going to be able to do it in the running game. So I know it'd be easy to sit here and say, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Be great if it works.
You got one of the
But I
best
think
run defenses in the NFL, and you got your backup running back essentially
yeah,
going up
it's not going to
against them.
work. So they're going to have to use the weapons, right? Spread them out a bit. Go 2 backs. Go, McKissick and Antonio, right? Put them both in there. Make them have to choose who they're going to guard. Mix it up. Short balls. Short
Love it.
balls. Get the ball. And if you do that early, then you can go deep later because you're going to have them back on their
Yep,
heels.
and you saw
They're
that
not going to be able to come at you. They're going to have to keep you in front of
you
them.
saw that
So, and they're an
happen
aggressive
you
defense.
saw that happen in the Monday night game, um, or the Thursday night game, the debut NFL game in the Bills versus the Rams. That was basically the entire scheme, was to take Aaron Donald out of the football game. Josh Allen was getting the ball out of his hands in 2.5 seconds, and then the second half, the whole field was open. So
Yep,
great. I was this
that's it.
this was going to
That's
be
it.
one of my keys, and I saw yours beforehand. Great point. This is one of my favorite points you've made on this show. Just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you, son. The second thing is, stop the run and make Hurts beat you with his arm, right? And he can do
Yeah.
that. So I'm not saying he can't do that. Great receivers and AJ Brown and others. I mean, it can be done, and that could lead to some big plays. But their only chance, like Jamin Davis has flashed a couple of times. He can rush the quarterback. You know what I say to Jamin Davis? You guard Hurts.
You got number one.
Hurts is your responsibility. We're gonna go one on one. We're gonna use William Jackson to his strengths. We're gonna play man to man. We're
Please
gonna load the
God.
box. We're gonna go mano a mano. We're gonna be aggressive as a defense. We're not gonna be afraid and sit back, but we're gonna stop the run. We're gonna stop Hurts from making plays with his feet as much as possible. And you know what? That means scheming to them, not doing what we just want to do and forcing our scheme on it. So, is the coaching going to be able to do that? No idea. But to me, they got to stop the run, make Hurts beat you with his arm. And if he does, he does. But part of that, again, if we can hold the ball, run clock, keep time of possession. And the last one is no turnovers and win the penalty battle. Let's not
It's
beat
another big
ourselves.
one.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Can't beat ourselves. Can't do what Kirk did, keep giving them the ball back. Vikings could have got in that game. They were in scoring position. One score really changes that game,
Yep.
especially if it comes in the third quarter or whatever. Win that tournament. In fact, everyone said how great the Eagles looked. I mean, the Vikings kind of gave a lot away in that game that they
Definitely.
didn't have to. And that could have been a lot tighter game. So I saw a couple cracks there that we could take advantage of. I don't know that I even want to pick this game, son, because we're both going to pick the
Yeah.
Eagles. I don't want to go there. We focused on what we want to do to win, and I'd rather keep that mindset. What are we going to do to win this
I
game?
like
What are
it.
we going to do to turn this thing around? So let's not pick the
I
game.
like it. Yeah, like you said. I think a quick note is that I think a lot of the reason that Minnesota was giving the game to Philly was because Philly was taking it with that pass rush. Kirk just had no time and he was flustered. And
It's got to do
when you
better.
can disrupt a quarterback like that, it forces him to just kill the blitz, which is probably the hardest thing to do as a quarterback. Um, and you got to do it over and over again. So the stuff.
There's one difference between Kirk and what we've seen in Carson. Kirk's had some great games. He's Mr. 8-8 so
Yep.
far, but he's put up some big games. But he's definitely someone whose confidence can get shook.
Yep.
And when it does, whereas we've seen from Carson, I mean, even Sunday, right? I mean, we talk about the two interceptions from the first game, but give up a sack, fumble, safety, and then that bad interception to Logan
Yep.
Thomas. But he keeps battling, he keeps coming, he stays
Well,
confident. I like that
and
about
that's
him.
to touch back to my rant. That's why I said he's been excellent compared to what we expected. And excellent, I think, is a strong word. I don't know that I'm ready to say Josh Allen is an excellent quarterback. I don't know that I'm ready to say that about Carson Wentz. But I was
Well,
emotional.
you said compared to
Excellent compared to what the
expectations.
expectations were because that was the big knock on him when he came here, which is like, yeah, when he's feeling good and when he's doing well, it's great. But the minute something goes wrong, he's done. And so far, we've seen a lot go wrong, which granted, maybe we need to peel that back a little bit, but we've seen him bounce back. So that's exciting. But
He's done a lot of good
I think,
stuff
like
too.
you
We
said,
just got to be we can't. In both games, we didn't play the first half of the second game. And in the first game, we talked about it. First two drives, last two drives ish. We got to we got to put together a consistent. Yeah, every now and again you're going to go three and out,
yeah,
but not three and out, three and out, three and out. We've got to be more
yep.
consistent and consistently. It's the only chance we're going to have to win this
Well,
game.
like you said,
Only
I think
chance.
the more we talk about this game, the closer we get to predicting that the Eagles are going to win. Let's avoid that. I think we've covered everything that we need to cover in terms of what we need to do to win this football game. I feel like I've said everything I need to say. Pop, what do you think? Feel
Agree. Let's
good?
go
Let's
on.
move
Let's go
on.
on to Bada Bets.
We're going to talk Bada
The
Bets.
reimagined Bada
Yeah,
Bets.
speaking of, schematic changes and, we're stubborn people. I'm going to call a spade here, but we are not stubborn in terms of adapting this
No.
pod, making it better for you guys. We're going to try and focus a little bit more, you know, not we're still a Commanders podcast, of course, but we want to talk a little bit more about what's going on nationally because football is so exciting. There's 31 other teams to talk about. Let's do it. So every week now for Bada Best from now on, and we're also 0-4. So we figure let's shake it up a little bit, give
we're
ourselves a better
wiping
chance to win this.
wiping
That's
it clean.
preseason. That's preseason. First 2 games, they're gone.
That's right. We
They're
were just
gone. We're
first
getting
time
warmed
doing
up.
it. We were getting
Getting
warmed
warmed up.
up.
Working out the kinks. Um, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna pick every week 5 games. We're gonna take the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, and the Monday night game, and then our two most exciting games for the daytime slots on Sunday. And we're gonna pick against the spread those 5 against each other. We're gonna see who wins. Somebody's got to. If we're making 5 picks each, somebody's got to win. We can't keep going
So
on for like
what are we
this.
putting on this? We're
So
gonna want to say like I don't know, don't make it too rich, but like $1 a
I'll have
week.
my
Whoever has the better
I'll
record.
have my manager get in contact with you. Portnoy will give you a call.
We got to come up with
Yeah,
something. We got to come up with
yeah. We'll
something.
have Portnoy give you a call, and he'll figure out the funding. Uh,
Oh, he's already fired. He's already fired us. I mean, so maybe before we get into it, real quick. So, what you're gonna do, Dominic? You're the DJ. You're gonna rattle these games off. I pick, you pick. I pick, you pick, and then we'll do a little bit of analysis and recap after the fact.
all right,
We'll mention real quick. As of right now, Eagles are 6.5 point favorites. Not a surprise. Not gonna say any more about that.
tough
But
one, tough one.
let's get into our
All
picks.
right, so Thursday night Steelers versus Browns, -4.5 for the Browns. Pop, you start.
Browns favored by 4.5. Go Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers too. Sunday game number 1, we got Bills -5.5 versus the Dolphins. What do you think?
I gotta go Bills.
I'm going to take the Dolphins to cover this. I don't think they win, but 5.5 that's a lot of points to give Tua that just threw for 6 touchdowns last week. Sunday number 2, classic Rodgers versus Brady, Packers. Bucks got 9 or -1.5. What do you got?
Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks as well. Then we got Sunday night 49ers -1 versus the Broncos. What do you think there?
49ers, Broncos. I'm going 49ers all day on that. You know
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna ride with Denver here. I think yeah, I like Russ. Monday night Cowboys versus Giants. Giants 2.5 point favorites. Cooper Rush under the lights. What do you think, Pop? It's a tough one to pick.
God, do I have to pick this
Oh God,
game?
root for a tie, right?
I'll go
Yeah, I'm
Giants.
gonna take the Giants as well there. So yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest point of contention here is that Bills Dolphins game. Is that the only game we picked? No, Bills Dolphins and
Denver
Denver
49ers.
49ers. So yeah, I figure you're gonna give Russ a point. Let's see what he can do. And I'm not too thrilled on Jimmy G, to be honest with you, but I don't know. Kittle might be back. We'll see.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, so Thursday night we got Steelers Browns. We could spend like a 30 seconds on each
Yeah, go ahead.
game. I mean, I just kind of thinking back to you picking against the Steelers week 1 and going against Mike
Yep.
Tomlin and getting 4.5
Yeah,
points. Phil, they'll keep it close.
I think
at
given
least.
Tomlin points in primetime football, I think that is going to be a system pick that I'm going to start taking. Anytime Tomlin gets points in primetime,
That's a
I'm going to
great
go
point,
with
and
him.
it's so we both got the Steelers there. Bills giving 5.5 to the Dolphins. You go
I went
Dolphins.
Dolphins because I think the Bills win, but it doesn't get much more dynamic than Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson's going for what, 4 touchdowns? And
Well, they took their foot off the gas.
Miami showed that they're able to run with it. They can run with you if you want to run. So 6 touchdowns for Tua, hard to for me just because they got so many points. If this was -2.5, I'd take the Bills, but 5.5 is a lot of points to give Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua after what we saw last weekend.
The Dolphins are definitely been impressive. They're up and coming. But going against that Bills defense, I think the Bills are going to easily cover
Hey,
this one. I
yeah,
really
I
do.
mean, maybe if I had a few more minutes to think about it, I might have made a different pick, but I'm sticking with the Dolphins. I still think 5.5 is a lot of points there.
Hey, you can't go back
No, of
now.
course not.
We both picked the Bucks. I think. Yeah,
Gonna ride with
I
Brady.
guess Packers got a good win against the Bears. It could be a great game. I think it's going to be a great
Yeah.
game. Just believing in the the Bucks a little more right
Yep.
now.
No Mike Evans there, suspended as of right now for his antics last weekend. He effed up my parlay. I made a call to Goodell. I said, "Hey, get this guy out of here. I don't want to get hurt
If
like
if
that
you
again."
didn't hear if you didn't hear Dom's rant about fantasy football in last pod, it's a must listen.
So
You could fast forward. It's all good. It's towards the middle of the end of the pod. Got to hear that.
I've made a
That was
I've made a
hilarious.
groundbreaking
That
coaching
was
change
hilarious.
in that I will be starting Jalen Waddle at all costs this week. No matter what, Jalen Waddle will
Nice job,
start.
son.
So see adjustments over here,
You can
not too
bench him
touch the
again the
doodle
next
over
time we
here.
play.
Yeah, next time I'll bench him for you. 49ers, Broncos. These are two.
Sticking with that Russ love, aren't you?
I think they're gonna work it out. I think mostly they're getting killed by Nathaniel Hackett, maybe not being such a
I
great
love
coach.
the 49ers in this
Um,
game. I love them.
yeah, fair enough.
Jimmy G's back. I mean, unfortunate circumstances, but
Kittle might be back too.
Jimmy D redemption tour.
Yeah, Kittle might be back too. I think I'm probably gonna be rooting. Oh, it's a tough one. I do like to see the Jimmy G redemption tour, but I'm sticking with my boys here. I'm gonna be stubborn.
Jimmy G's gonna sit down with a plate of bolognese
We're not claiming
Saturday
Jimmy
night.
G.
He's gonna get carb loaded. He's gonna get carb loaded, and he's gonna put
We're
a
not
hurting
we're
on your
not claiming
boys.
Jimmy G quite yet. I don't wanna put that on our great
He's a
nation.
paisan.
Yes,
He's a
that's how we
paisan.
wanna.
Hey, starting NFL quarterback who's Italian. I mean, we had
Hey,
Montana.
how many
You
people
gotta
you know
like. You
what?
gotta
You wanna
like it.
disrespect Jimmy G, but can you say that you're top 32 at anything in this world? Alright?
That's
Come on.
right.
Jimmy G.
That's
Put some
right.
respect on the guy's name. I'll give it to you. You know what? Pride in our paisan. Shouldn't have picked against them, but I did.
That's right.
Uh,
I hope he comes running out with the Italian flag
that'd
on
be great.
Sunday.
Well, I hope he does that,
Yeah,
and then he
out of the
throws for 3
tunnel.
touchdowns, and he doesn't do that and lay his normal Jimmy G egg. But anyways, Cowboys, Giants. Giants, are they legit? Possibly?
I you
Is that a
know
real football team up
I
there?
kind of pick. I kind of. It's like who do you pick in this game? You hate both teams, but I hate the Giants a little
Yeah,
less. This is all heart. I just couldn't pick the Cowboys. Probably bad. I got to get over that for
yeah.
betting. I'll admit. I don't know that I really believe the Giants are going to win now this
Cowboys
game.
defense is legit.
I,
I'm a little worried about that in week 4. We'll get to that, a week from
yeah,
today,
yeah. I'm
but
not sure I love this pick, but I'll stick by it since I
yeah, I'm
made it.
gonna ride with it too. I really
Yeah.
like what Brian Daboll's got going on up there in New York, and I think Saquon might be able to kinda neutralize a lot of what's going on there.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
That's the
You
pod.
hung an absolute record 170 something points on me in fantasy football this week.
I didn't bring
That
it
was
up, did I?
incredible. My boys rallied, and I'm proud of them, frankly, because you know what? We were out of it from the second that game started, and we ended up putting together a pretty respectable 99.5 point showing, which would have won quite a few games in our league. I just happened to go up against, you had a perfect week. And you know what,
The
Pop?
juggernaut.
Congrats.
163 to 99.5. Just a little 64
It's
point
locker room
victory there,
material for the
if I'm
It's
rounding
locker
up.
room material for the boys. There's always that one guy in the fantasy football league that drives you freaking crazy because he's like, "Oh, I have the most points for," but
You're like my Cowboys. If I just have to win 2 games a
no,
year,
like I said,
it's against
what I was
you.
about to say is you always got that one guy in the fantasy football league that talks about points for. Your team plays bad defense, bro. That's on you. You got to play defense. My defense didn't show up this week. You hung 160 points on me. I got to hold that. I'm willing to. That's why you play
I
the
like
game.
my
That's
team.
why you
Just
play the
hope
game.
hope the injuries work out.
Yeah, I hope Justin Jefferson gets back to week 1 form. But anyways, I think that's about it. We
It's a
wanted to we
wrap.
wanted to keep it short. We talked for 40 minutes. What more could you ask for? It's a pretty standard Dom and Pop affair over here.
I hope that therapy at the beginning of the pod helped you
I
out
don't know
some.
if it helped or hurt because you got me talking and then I was ready to just kind of keep running, but anyways, we'll be back on Sunday. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I think we all think we know where it's going to go, but that's why you play the game. Let's go, Commanders. Carson Wentz, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Don't bet any money on
Oh
that.
man.
I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
Thanks for another great week, guys.
Love me, baby.